reopened after lying dormant for 20 years. But heavy looting in the National Museum of Iraq's recent history has left its mark. Many artifacts have gone, and some are missing pieces. Others have been restored. From the 10th to the 12th of April 2003, the museum's collections were ransacked. Tens of thousands of artifacts from millennia-old civilizations were stolen, like this Assyrian statue.
When they moved it, its elbow was damaged. This piece had been stolen. An Iraqi person found out it was being sold and bought it in 2003. He kept it at home until the situation out on the Iraqi streets settled, and then he returned it to the museum.
Around 15,000 antiquities were stolen, according to 2003 estimates, although this figure is now thought to be far too low. More than 2,000 pieces were returned in 2003 thanks to an amnesty program launched by American forces after the fall of Saddam Hussein's regime. The rest of the archaeological treasures is still being hunted down on the black market, even in auction houses around the world where identification papers are often forged.
We are linked by an international agreement to retrieve the artifacts through UNESCO or Interpol. The difficulty is to prove that they belong to Iraq. When they have been displayed in museums or numbered in museums, they are easy to retrieve. But items stolen or illegally dug up from archaeological sites are problematic because we need to prove that they belong to us.
This is the central issue in attempting to control the trafficking of Iraqi antiquities. With a history stretching back thousands of years, the country has over 100,000 archaeological sites, with many in remote, hard-to-reach areas, perfect targets for looters. Decades of war and the arrival of the Islamic State group helped to encourage this trafficking, which is still facilitated by networks of organized crime and corruption in government. The hemorrhage seems impossible to stem. This police department fights organized crime and specializes in finding stolen antiquities.
This is the first piece, which is black with 4 people sculpted and one of them with an animal's head, a gazelle. If it is authenticated, they could go to jail for 10 years.
They infiltrate artifact resale networks, relying on agents spread over the country.
We managed to ambush the suspect and catch him on the scene red-handed. He was intending to sell the artifacts for a good sum of money. The whole point of selling these artifacts is, of course, to make money. These pieces were dug up by the suspect, who wanted to sell them for $20,000.
The precarious economic situation in the country, where a quarter of the population lives below the poverty line, makes the protection of these sites particularly urgent. At Agha near Baghdad, both walls and fences surround the iconic ziggurat. But the authorities say there's not enough manpower to build them everywhere.
There aren't enough employees to cover it all, so we found 2 solutions. One with the antiquity police, and the other by asking neighbors, families who live nearby. People started helping by protecting the sites and not allowing others to enter and damage them or litter. Hopefully in the near future, all these sites will be protected in Iraq.
Ali Basim's calling for greater public awareness of Iraq's heritage, among others who want satellite surveillance of remote sites. Iraq has succeeded in recent years in repatriating several thousand antiquities discovered across the United States and Europe. But sales of trafficked artifacts have not slowed. UNESCO estimates that the global market turns over around $10 billion every year.